shadows of stronger men and louder women. You move through corridors where others command the air while you suffocate under the weight of invisibility. You pretend not to notice, but you feel it. Their words cut through the crowd like blades, and yours vanish into the silence. You are present, yet unseen. You obey, yet resent. You exist, but without consequence. And the bitter truth gnaws at you in private moments. The world does not reward the good-hearted, it rewards the influential. Influence is the rare aura that bends reality in your favor. And you have not mastered it. You were told to play fair, to trust merit, to let kindness speak for itself. Lies. Those rules were designed to keep you docile while others advanced. Look around. The battlefield of life is littered with the corpses of people who believed fairness was a shield. Niccolò Machiavelli understood. Long before you were born, power does not belong to the well-meaning. It belongs to the calculating. Influence is not luck. It is forged like steel, sharpened with discipline, and deployed like a weapon. And you, until now, have been disarmed. Your illusions are your prison. You believe that if you work hard, if you stay honest, if you show patience, the world will eventually notice. But years pass, and still the recognition is withheld. The applause never arrives. The battlefield has moved on, and you are left behind, clutching ideals that no one respects. Understand this. Naivety is not innocence. It is self-betrayal. Every day you cling to comforting lies. You offer yourself as prey to predators who understand the real rules of engagement. The brutal truth is this. Human beings are animals dressed in etiquette. They are driven by fear, envy, desire, and weakness. They follow strength because they cannot bear uncertainty. They crave the presence of someone who seems inevitable, someone who radiates the aura of inevitability. This is the rare aura of influence. It is not charm, not kindness, not popularity. It is the silent authority that makes others adjust themselves in your presence. And right now, you do not have it. Why? Because you were conditioned to think influence is earned by serving others. Conditioned by parents who told you to be nice. Conditioned by teachers who punished defiance. Conditioned by systems designed to produce compliant workers, not powerful individuals. You have been trained to bow, to wait, to hope, and that conditioning still shackles you. You hesitate when you should strike. You explain when you should command. You smile when you should remain cold. You reveal your thoughts when you should conceal your intent. This blindness is not accidental, it is engineered. Machiavelli would tell you, never reveal the full weight of your desires. Influence thrives on opacity, on the fog of uncertainty. The battlefield belongs to those who see while remaining unseen. Your weakness has been visibility. Everyone can read you, predict you, dismiss you. The powerful cultivate mystery. They move like shadows, deliberate, unpredictable. They never show their hand until the strike is fatal. You, however, have bled your intentions across the floor, and others have collected them as ammunition against you. Power is not about noise. It is about gravity. Influence is not about begging for attention. It is about pulling attention without asking. You have confused volume with presence. You have mistaken popularity for control. A leader with no aura is a clown. A soldier with no discipline is a casualty. Influence is the quiet storm that rearranges the battlefield before a sword is even drawn. You must now confront the cost of your blindness. Every day, you remain passive. Someone else grows stronger at your expense. Every time you hesitate, your rivals advance their supply lines into your territory. Every moment you waste on self-doubt, they entrench themselves deeper into positions of dominance. You are not neutral, you are losing ground. The war does not wait for you to find your courage. It devours the unprepared, and if you continue as you are, your future is not freedom, it is servitude. The aura of influence begins within. It is not given by others. It is constructed, brick by brick, like a fortress. You do not beg for it, you craft it. The process is cold and deliberate. First, you learn to discipline your presence. Your movements must be minimal, precise, economical. Every gesture must suggest command, not nervousness. Second, you control your words. Speak less, shorter, sharper. Silence is ammunition. Let others spill their secrets while you observe in stillness. Third, you control perception. Influence's theater appear stronger than you are until strength becomes real. Let enemies underestimate your capacity until they collapse under the weight of your patience. Machiavellian strategy dictates one law above all: control the battlefield of perception. If they see you as desperate, you are already defeated. If they see you as inevitable, they will surrender before combat begins. Influence is psychological warfare, not negotiation. You must erode resistance before it forms public theirs. This is not kindness, this is supremacy. You will not gain influence by waiting. You must seize it through calculated maneuver. Influence is built by striking at precise moments when others falter. You must study them, map their weaknesses, expose their vanity, manipulate their hunger. Influence means bending their will without them noticing it has been bent. The rare aura is not gifted, it is weaponized. Do you understand now why your life has stagnated? Because you have fought with the wrong weapons. You brought words of fairness to a battlefield of steel. You carried ideals while your opponents carried knives. You trusted when you should have tested. You apologized when you should have punished. And you wondered why you remained invisible. The answer is brutal. Invisibility is self-inflicted. You refused to shine with power, so others covered you with shadow. But here is the turn. You can build this aura. You can construct the fortress of influence that will alter every interaction, every relationship, every room you enter. The path is merciless, but it is simple. Remove the illusions. Stop expecting others to respect your goodness. They respect only strength. Stop explaining yourself. Explanations are concessions. Stop revealing your weaknesses. Weakness is an invitation for conquest. Start observing like a commander studying terrain. Start calculating like a strategist, weighing supply lines. Start acting as if you already command, until the world conforms. The aura is rare because few have the discipline to endure the loneliness of power. Influence requires you to detach from the herd, to accept the cold air of distance. You cannot belong to everyone and control anyone. You cannot seek constant approval and maintain authority. You must choose. Be loved for your compliance, or feared for your strength. Both cannot coexist. Niccolò Machiavelli warned that love without fear decays into weakness. Influence requires an edge, a stale presence, a dangerous calm that reminds others you can shift the battlefield at will. The rare aura of influence is not charisma. It is not charm. It is not applause. It is psychological dominance, cultivated in silence, revealed in decisive strikes. It is the invisible crown others sense but cannot challenge. And if you do not claim it, you will remain a pawn in the games of others. You are not failing because you lack talent. You are failing because you lack force. Influence is not about being correct. It is about being undeniable. Do you think the generals of history won wars by waiting for truth to be recognized? No. They marched supply lines, cut communications, starved their enemies into submission. Influence is warfare without the blood. It is maneuvering perceptions, cutting alliances, disrupting morale. You have avoided this battlefield, so you have been conquered by it. Machiavelli would remind you that men are ruled by appearances more than by reality. And you, naive as you have been, clung to reality. You thought the truth of your intentions, the honesty of your heart, would somehow carry weight. But reality is invisible. People believe what they see, not what is. If you look weak, you are weak. If you look indecisive, you are irrelevant. If you look harmless, you are expendable. You cannot afford to be harmless anymore. Every movement in the game of influence is reconnaissance. You must study the terrain of people's minds, the way a general studies maps. Who hungers for approval? Who fears isolation? Who thrives on flattery? Who drowns in insecurity? These are your rivers, your choke points, your supply routes. You must learn to cut them, to block them, to redirect them. Influence is not an accident, it is an operation. Your blindness has been costly. You gave trust freely. You revealed motives without restraint. You confused loyalty with dependence. And now others hold leverage over you. Every word you spoke in confidence became intelligence for their war against you. Every moment you hesitated became an opening. Every ounce of your politeness became a resource they could exploit. Do you see now how deep the sabotage runs? It is not only what they have done to you. It is what you allowed them to do. But understand, influence is not cruelty. It is necessity. The battlefield is merciless. And if you do not harden yourself, you will be devoured. Influence is the armor you must forge, the shield you must raise, the spear you must wield. The rare aura of influence is not born of arrogance, it is born of discipline. You do not demand, respect you, radiate inevitability. You do not plead, you command. You do not wait, you maneuver. The weak imagine influence is about pleasing others. The strong know it is about directing others. The weak avoid confrontation. The strong engineer it on their terms. The weak complain about unfairness. The strong exploit it. You must decide which side you stand on. Because neutrality is an illusion. You are already in the war, whether you like it or not. The only choice you have is whether to fight as a strategist or die as a casualty. The cost of passivity is total. The man who refuses to learn strategy is the man who kneels to those who have mastered it. The woman who hesitates to wield influence is the woman who becomes a puppet in someone else's theater. There is no escape from the hierarchy of power. Pretending you are outside, it only makes you its lowest servant. You either command or you are commanded. There is no third option. The aura of influence begins with control over yourself. You cannot project command if you are ruled by impulse. You cannot inspire fear if you are consumed by fear. You cannot manipulate perception if you cannot even master your own. Discipline is the foundation. Cut unnecessary speech. Silence breeds presence. Cut nervous costuras. Stillness breeds gravity. Cut emotional outbursts. Coldness breeds respect. Control yourself first. Then control the battlefield. Niccolò Machiavelli knew this. The prince who lacks discipline loses not because of external enemies, but because of internal weakness. The same applies to you. Your enemies may not even need to attack if you sabotage yourself through sloppiness, indulgence, or sentimentality. Influence requires restraint. It requires patience. It requires the willingness to endure discomfort while others crumble under it. This is psychological attrition, outlasting them until they collapse. You must practice the art of withholding. Say less than you think. Reveal less than you feel. Give less than they expect. Every withheld piece of yourself strengthens your position. The aura grows in silence. They lean forward, desperate to read you. And the more they cannot, the more they project onto you. That projection becomes power in your hands. You allow them to see what they want, while you remain unexposed. This is the rarest skill. to let others write your legend while you control the script. The battlefield is perception. Influence thrives in shadows, not in blinding light. If they cannot predict you, they cannot disarm you. If they cannot read you, they cannot resist you. But if you remain transparent, you will be dismantled piece by piece until nothing remains. This is why you must cultivate opacity. Become the mist through which others stumble, never knowing your true position until it is too late. Do not mistake this for manipulation in the petty sense. Influence is not trickery, it is architecture. You build structures of perception so that others move where you want them to move. You construct conditions in which resistance is pointless. You shape environments until surrender feels like their own decision. This is the highest form of power, not to crush with brute force, but to bend reality so they walk willingly into your design. The naive recoil from this. They say it is harsh. They call it ruthless. But what is the alternative? To remain enslaved by those who wield it against you. To live your life under the thumb of others while comforting yourself with ideals. You must grow sharper, cold, clear. If the world is a battlefield, then influence is the chain of command. And without it, you are not a player, you are fodder. So here is your strategy. Begin today. Watch more than you speak. Note weaknesses more than you share opinions. Hold silence as your weapon. Silence forces others to reveal themselves, to rush into the space you leave, to betray their own fears. With every silence, you gain intelligence. With every observation, you sharpen your blade. Words spoken recklessly are arrows wasted. Words held back are arrows stored for the decisive moment. Do not be predictable. Predictability is death. A commander who telegraphs every move loses before battle begins. Vary your rhythm. Sometimes engage. Sometimes withdraw. Sometimes flatter. Sometimes remain cold. Sometimes appear weak. Sometimes reveal sudden strength. Keep them guessing. Uncertainty is the fog that paralyzes opposition. In uncertainty, they hesitate. In hesitation, you strike. Strike not often, but with precision. A flurry of blows is wasteful. One decisive cut ends the fight. Do not argue endlessly. Do not justify yourself. Do not drown in explanations. Wait. Watch. Then strike at the moment when the blow cannot be ignored. This is how influence expands, not through constant noise, but through rare, undeniable force. Machiavellian strategy dictates that the battlefield is psychological before it is physical. Influence is the supply line of every victory. Without it, your weapons are empty. With it, your presence alone is a weapon. The rare aura of influence is when others anticipate your moves, adjust themselves to you, without you lifting a finger. This is power without friction. This is control without chains. This is what you must cultivate. You still cling to the fantasy that people will one day recognize your value on their own. They will not. They are too consumed with their own survival. They are too distracted by their own fears and desires. Unless you impose yourself, you remain invisible. The battlefield does not hand out medals for quiet endurance. It crushes those who wait. If you want the aura of influence, you must seize it like a fortress under siege. You must lay claim to it with precision, discipline, and ruthlessness. Look at the patterns of your life. Every time you deferred, you lost. Every time you softened, you were ignored. Every time you waited, the moment passed to someone bolder. This is not coincidence. This is structure. Weakness produces defeat. Passivity produces chains. Hopeless optimism produces nothing but disappointment. You are living proof that without strategy, effort decays into waste. Machiavelli understood what you keep resisting. Men follow strength, not virtue. They admire virtue in speeches but obey strength in practice. You have chosen admiration. Others have chosen obedience. That is why you feel the sting of irrelevance. Influence is not admiration. It is submission. Influence is when their will bends to yours before they even realize it is happening. Do you understand how exposed you have been? You reveal too much. You move without cover. You speak before you observe. You ask for permission to exist. This is suicide in a world of predators. The aura of influence is rare precisely because it requires the discipline to withhold, to starve the world of your intentions until they are forced to speculate, to make them guess. Doubt, wonder. In that fog, you grow taller. In that uncertainty, you gain height. Influence thrives in the silence you create, but influence is not merely silence. It is orchestration. You must engineer impressions. You must learn to direct perception like a general directs the flow of battle. Who sees you first? Who hears your words? Who carries your reputation forward? These are supply lines. You cannot afford leaks. You cannot afford unguarded moments. One careless display, one needless outburst, and your enemy has ammunition for years. Influence dies when control falters. You may think this is exhausting. It is, but exhaustion is the tax of power. The weak seek comfort. The strong endure vigilance. A commander cannot sleep while his supply routes are unsecured. You cannot relax while your influence remains unguarded. Every moment you project carelessness. The enemy advances. And make no mistake, everyone is a potential enemy. Even allies can become adversaries when their hunger exceeds their loyalty. Machiavellian clarity is this: trust is provisional, loyalty is conditional, and vigilance is eternal. You were taught to trust blindly. That is why you have been wounded so often. But wounds are teachers. They reveal your mistakes. Every betrayal you suffered was not an accident. It was reconnaissance you ignored. The signs were there. The desperation in their eyes. The hunger in their questions. The envy in their smiles. You chose to dismiss them. That dismissal cost you. Influence requires you to read every expression as intelligence. Every silence as signal. Every hesitation as an opening. And when you read the signs, you must act with precision. Influence is not timid. Influence does not ask for consensus. Influence is decisive. You must strike when advantage presents itself. Without apology. Without delay. A hesitation is a signal of weakness. Weakness invites challenge. Challenge forces conflict. Conflict drain resource. Better to strike first, quietly, so that conflict never erupts. This is how Machiavellian strategy works. Victory without prolonged battle, but you hesitate because you still cling to conscience over consequence. Conscience is a leash. It binds you while others sharpen knives. You must learn to detach. This does not mean cruelty for its own sake. It means prioritizing results over feelings. If their feelings conflict with your power, sacrifice their feelings. If their comfort obstructs your influence, strip it from them. If their trust holds you back, let it burn. Power is the only currency on this battlefield. Influence is the only fortress worth guarding. Understand this. The rare aura of influence is not simply presence, it is inevitability. You must cultivate the air that resistance to you is futile, that defiance is self-destruction. This aura is built through consistency. When you appear strong. When you speak sharp. When you move with purpose. Never let them see hesitation. Never let them taste your fear. The moment they sense uncertainty, your aura fractures. Do not confuse inevitability with arrogance. Arrogance overreaches. Inevitability is silent. You do not boast, you demonstrate. You do not threaten. You position yourself so that threats are unnecessary. You do not plead. You act in ways that make your will appear as law. This is the aura. Others feel it before they can explain it. They adjust their tone, their posture, their choices. They bend unconsciously. And you do not need to lift a hand, but the price is isolation. Influence demande distance. You cannot be everyone's friend and anyone's commander. The herd longs for intimacy. Leaders cannot indulge it. You must accept the cold air of solitude. You must become the mountain that stands apart. From this distance, your presence is magnified. From this distance, your aura expands. The weak drown in companionship. The powerful grow in silence. This is the sacrifice required. The battlefield teaches one lesson above all. Mercy is a luxury of the strong. If you are still struggling to rise, mercy is a liability. Every concession, every apology, every delay, these are leaks in your walls. Plug them. Harden yourself. Influence is not built on forgiveness. It is built on control. The time for softness comes later, when your fortress is unassailable. Until then, coldness must be your shield. Do not imagine that this aura is beyond your reach. It is built, not born. It begins with small acts of restraint. Favor words, sharper eye contact, firmer posture, controlled pace. Each gesture accumulates into presence. Each restraint sharpens your edge. Influence compounds. What feels insignificant today becomes unshakable months from now. This is long war, not sudden battle. But if you remain disciplined, the aura will emerge, and when it does, you will feel the shift. They will look differently at you. Their tones will change. Their words will hesitate. Their eyes will measure you with caution. This is the sign. This is the weapon Machiavelli understood, that the rare aura of influence bends the field before swords ever cross. It makes others fight themselves before they dare fight you. It is the most efficient weapon because it prevents wars before they begin. You want transformation without sacrifice. You want power without blood. You want respect without risk. That desire is childish. Nothing in this battlefield is given freely. Every inch of influence is purchased with discipline, with cold choices, with strategic brutality. If you refuse to pay the price, you remain a pawn forever. And Ponsti first, you still believe you can balance everything, be loved and feared, admired and obeyed, soft and commanding. Illusion. Influence does not tolerate contradictions. You must cut away what weakens you. If you insist on being gentle in a world of wolves, you will be devoured. If you insist on being transparent in a world of spies, you will be dismantled. If you insist on waiting for recognition in a world that rewards only bold seizure, you will rot in obscurity. Niccolò Machiavelli saw what you refuse to see. Survival belongs to those who act before they are acted upon. He understood that appearances bend reality, that fear is a sharper tool than affection. That strategy outweighs sincerity. You cannot continue living as if these laws do not apply. The laws of power are older than morality, older than your ideals, older than your excuses. They govern you whether you accept them or not. The aura of influence is rare because it demands a death, the death of your old self, the self that waited, the self that begged, the self that feared conflict. That self must be executed. No mercy, no mourning, only burial. In its place, you construct a fortress of command, a voice that cuts, a gaze that unsettles, a presence that bends the air. You do not ask for respect. You radiate inevitability. You cannot negotiate with weakness. You cannot bargain with hesitation. You must slaughter them. Every day you hesitate, someone else expands their reach. Every day you compromise, Someone else secures their supply lines. Every day you soften. Someone else sharpens their blade. Influence is a war of attrition, and you are running out of time. Either you harden now, or you bleed slowly until nothing remains. Strategy is simple. Strip illusion. Study terrain. Control perception. Strike precisely. Withhold mercy until your fortress is unassailable. Move as if every step is deliberate, as if every silence is designed. This is how aura is forged. This is how inevitability is born. And once you command it, you no longer chase opportunities, they orbit you. They fall into your gravity, unable to resist. This is the rare aura of influence, not chasing, not begging, but drawing everything into your orbit through sheer inevitability. Do not confuse me. This is not a suggestion. This is not guidance. This is a warning. If you walk away unchanged, you will continue to be trampled. You will continue to fade. You will continue to be ruled by those who understood what you refused to learn. But if you rise now, if you harden now, if you embrace the cold air of power, then you will finally step out of shadow. The choice is in front of you. Continue being dominated, invisible, irrelevant, or kill the old self and build the aura that bends reality to you. There is no middle path. This is the final line. You are either a strategist or you are prey. Decide.